Hello you beautiful peeps, my name's John, welcome to my channel. Today we have the XLF F22A and this was sent to me by Makerfire, so thank you very much for that. This is in fact a used product. They did a little bit of photographing with it and drove it a little bit and bent the shock tower on it. Didn't you? But I bent that back, so that's not going to be a problem. What's in the box? You have a bog standard controller, nothing really special there. You have instruction booklet, charger, and a few bits and bobs. Hello, as you can see we had to move location because they were using some sort of chainsaw or something like that. Here is the car, and as you can see it is a true 1/10 scale, and it's actually really good looking, I think. As you can see, it's quite low profile. The tyres are nice and chunky. It's already got a couple of scrapes and scratches. As I said, this has been tested by Makerfire themselves, so that is not my fault. We will do our own scratching and scrapes, trust me. It's got a 3650 3500 kV brushless motor, 85 amp ESC with heatsink, an absolutely huge 5000 milliamp hour LiPo battery. It does say it's got a 4-channel controller. The maximum speed is reported between 60 and 70 kph, but we can check that out. And oil-filled shocks. I was a little disappointed to see that it had no lights on this model when you consider that even the WO Toys 104009 has the lights, but it is smooth as butter out of the box. I mean, look at this. I've never had a differential that is that smooth out of the box before. It's got the metal chassis on the rear, on the bottom, and obviously the braces at the top. As you can see, the wheel hubs and the swing arms are also metal. Look how shiny and excellent that looks, but we'll see how they perform afterwards. We'll do a quick run here on the tarmac and then we're going to head over to the gravel, see what it can do. Started that, let's see what it can do on 2S. Steering keeps us starting and stopping. I don't have steering. It keeps us starting and stopping. Yes. Straight ahead. Then it turns. Okay, let's take a look, see what it can do. Okay, we shall go to stop. Read. 54. Guess where I've seen that before? Yes, David at Perth West Oz RC. He got exactly 54. So let's see if we can beat that, shall we, ladies and gents? Can't be letting him win, or at least equal. Okay, so we've come away from the tarmac because it was just impossible to get another speed run in, far too many cars around. It's a bank holiday today, so everybody's out. But there's definitely a delay on the steering. What it is at slow speeds, the servo does its normal fast speed. When you get up to a certain speed, the servo goes a little bit slower to stop it being so wiggly. The problem with that is I thought the steering just stopped working. It's really actually, it's hard to explain. It's just a really unnerving feeling when you're used to doing this at the start and now suddenly you're having to do full lock to get it to turn a little bit. But we thought we'd come to the gravel and see if it had the same sort of effect. I don't know, let's check it out. Okay, while editing, I've already put in that the problems with the steering was our mistake. Well, not our mistake. What it was the steering servo was not fully pushed in. So obviously at speed, it just wasn't getting the power that it needed. So once we pushed it back in, now we've got steering. So it's not a problem with this car. It's not when it gets to a certain speed that it slows down the steering. It's just that the connector wasn't plugged in. Just so you know. Okay, let's get on.
Show me the car when you turn me on. The way you tell me you want me down. Done it, I done this before you falling. I won't catch you, don't know I'm stalling. Cause you love to have them all crying. Calling me sweet, telling me you need me. But I'm from a city that's high school. I give them this and the more I go. Cause you a bad man, she don't love money. She break grass real fast like conman. Wanna swim down to the deep end. Wanna know all my secrets, honestly. Can you keep it real? Cause honestly, I can tell that you're real fond of me. Baby, don't be shy, I can see it in your eyes. I've been running around. Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Take it, baby, baby, I ain't scared to take it. Oh, and maybe when I take it, oh, I feel it coming down too strong. Cause I want ya, and it's hard to resist cause I need ya. And it's hard, baby, yeah, cause I believe ya. Hold me tight, holding on tonight. Holding a couple, no get to you clean and proper. Way I move, I know you can love her. You gon' let me on your mind forever. Ever, thanks baby, turn it down like a sweet and ready. Go slow, keep it nice and steady. Know that you've been keeping patience. Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Show me the car when you turn me on. The way you tell me you want me down.
Show me how you do
It off, why you tryna find the pieces when you rip it off? Why I like it when you sit it when you take it off? Yeah, you know that I'm bad. Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Too bad, I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night?
Hello, welcome back to the Blue Mat. I wanted to bring you back here rather than finishing the video when we were out so I could just get a little bit more in-depth into this truck. The reason being that even with my discount code, little plug, it brings it from 233 down to 220 US dollars. So that's actually quite a lot of money when you consider the sort of the price of the other cars I have around here. You've got the WL Toys 104009 up there, 001. I mean, a lot of them are even cheaper than this one. And in the case of the 144001, that actually goes at 60 kilometers an hour. This one, even though it's brushless, only goes at 54 on the 2S. But there's the caveat there, and that is that it's a much heavier car and it can take more of a beating. And certainly when it was on that gravel, my God, was it stable. It did not roll once. Even Colin didn't manage to roll it. I mean, he managed to hit it and fly it up in the air and roll it, but I'm talking about the traditional just sort of turn into a corner and then it rolls. It just did not want to know. I'm absolutely impressed by the handling of this thing. It is a little bit weightier than most of the other cars. I mean, if you throw in the 5,000 milliamp hour 2S battery, then, you know, we're adding more weight to it. This is the 3S, 3,000 milliamp hour, same sort of width, but then look at that. Same length, but this is the 3S, this is a 2S, so there's lots of wasted space in there, obviously. So I'm intrigued to know what this can do on the 3S as well, and certainly it's not going to be a problem fitting it in there, is it? So that's a really good thing. Now, I will say about the steering, I know I wrote it while editing, because I actually edited the start of it before finishing off the video, because I wanted to sort of get my thoughts together. There's nothing wrong with the steering. All it was the plug here, the servo plug, was slightly out. So once we identified it and pushed it back in again, the steering's been absolutely fine. Is it good enough? No. The servo needs to be upgraded on this car. Because of the bigger tyres, it just needs a little bit more power to it. It was lacking. I've just noticed this here. Take a look at that. That screw has come out. I deliberately tightened these up before I left, so I know that has happened while we were driving it. Now, the beating that we gave it, what you didn't see is after I came off the jump down onto the ground, I immediately did a U-turn and back up and tried to jump up. There's a little lip there, and tried to jump back up. It didn't work. Unfortunately, Colin didn't get back in time to record it. All he got was it sort of landing on the ground. But this hit hard into that wall. And there is no damage at all. I mean, there's scrapes, but these scrapes were here before I'd even got there. In fact, all of these were here before I got it. It took a beating like nothing else I've seen. I mean, I thought that the WL Toys 104009 could take a beating. Still hasn't broken, by the way, but this one took a harder beating, and it hasn't caused any damage. I mean, look at this. I said it briefly on the video. It's so smooth, it's just unbelievable. So I know for sure the insides of these differentials are quality. The whole frame feels like very good quality. I mean, this is I mentioned again in the video that this was the shock tower that was bent. I don't know how they did that, quite frankly, because we haven't managed to damage it. But this was bent all the way back, like this. So all I did was got some pliers and just pulled it back up, and as you see, it's absolutely perfectly fine. The shocks themselves, I mean, these are just pretty much the basic bolts, but if you see down here, they are slightly thicker and obviously more durable, and just in general, there's that one thing that's been sort of on the back of my mind the whole night, and that has been, it's got a brushless motor, it's got a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Why, when they had that much space, they didn't chuck in a 3S? I do not know, especially for this price point. I'm really confused. So why is it only going 54? And it wasn't just me, it was David over at Perth West Oz RC as well that got exactly 54 as well. So we know that that is the speed that this truck is capable of going. Why, at this price point of $220 US, is it not going faster? I don't know. I can't remember what speed Dave got on the 3S, but I know it was substantially more than on the 2S. But of course, he didn't manage to hit the 70 that was written on the box. But there again, on the box, it also said between 60 and 70. So I'll let them have that one. You know, if you say that then it was 6 kilometers away from the 60, then fair enough. I just wish it had a little bit more speed. That's all I'm saying. So buy yourself a 3S battery and you're sorted. It's a nice base. It's got enough space here to fit pretty much anything that you want in here. I mean, look at the amount of space you've got here to chuck in the biggest speed controller ESC that you can find in there. And of course, if you want to pick the ESC up and put it here or here, then of course that leaves that whole side there for batteries, which is pretty darn good in my opinion. Handling, when it jumped off the roof down onto the ground, you saw it had a secondary bounce, which is quite strange, but again, it's nothing that worries me, because when it was actually going over the gravel, it was incredibly stable. I'm torn between this $220 US. Do I feel that it's worth that? I think the only way that can be answered is in 3 months down the road, where it's still going strong and nothing's broken on it, because then you're getting your value for money sort of that way, rather than just off the shelf, ready to run value for money. I'd have liked to see this around 180. But if in 3 months' time it's still running strong, still holding together, well then yeah, we're back up to the 220, 230, then I think it is worth it. I really do. I do like it. The shell itself, once again, I said on the video, a little bit lackluster. They could have thrown a couple of lights on it, like even the cheaper models have. I think that's just a bit of a cop-out in my opinion. But there's the other side to it, lights break, and the other side to it is that wires break. And how many times I've taken off a shell forgetting it's got wires attached and just ripped the leads out. So maybe that's what they were going for, sort of ease of use. I am really intrigued about this one because it already has a 3500 kV motor in here, and this is a 3650. I do have over here a 3660 motor. Is this, no? I can't remember which one it is. No, it is. There we go. 3660 with the same 3500 kV. I think that this one could do with sort of a 4000 kV motor in here. So I think I'll definitely be upgrading this. It has the 85 amp ESC there, so I reckon that you don't have to worry about buying a new ESC. You can just chuck yourself in a slightly larger motor. I wouldn't go too extreme, but certainly something closer to 3500 kV. So there you go, ladies and gents. Don't forget to use the link in the description below, and there is the money off code, so I would use that as well. Makerfire do offer in most cases free postage, so you know, it does balance out somewhat, because some of these manufacturers or some of these suppliers charge you 50, 60 euros for it to be shipped as well. So hit that like button, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.